Hi, and welcome to the Tea with Intuitives podcast. I'm Brittany, an esoteric energy healer and inner child healing coach.
And I'm Meli, an Akashic reader, past life psychic, and channeling coach. Each episode, we answer one of your questions about spirituality, the Akashic records, energy healing, meditation, spirit guides, and the unseen world.
So we invite you to grab your cup of tea while we answer Rowan's question. It's ro.jennapencils on Instagram. I hope I said that right. She's wondering, love this question, what are your thoughts on AI and ChatGPT?
Mm-hmm.
But first, Meli, what tea are you drinking today?
I am drinking an oolong tea that my mom got for me when she was in Cambodia, I think 2 months ago. And I just want to give a shout out to my friends on the Coffee Clutch crew because I'm drinking my tea out of their mug. So if you like TV series and movies like me, they're just like, they're a couple having a podcast, and they are so fun. And I've been one of their members for a few years now, and you can even hear my voice sometimes when I send call in. So yeah, if you like podcasts, go check them out.
Oh, fun. I've never heard of that. Will you link them in the notes too?
I'm going to link them. Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
like super known, but I really like it when it's just two people recording from home and having fun and just having a chat. And it's really fun. Like she's a therapist, and he's a graphic designer, and he knows a lot about technology. So when they review shows and movies, they bring that perspective, and they're also super funny.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun. I think people like us who live in literally different worlds in the Akashic Records, we just like creative worlds and characters, and you know what I mean? It's just, there's something fun about it.
Yeah. And what about you, Brittany? What are you drinking?
Today I have my classic Earl Grey, and I've drank like a whole pot of it. Actually, if you're on YouTube, this is what I drink out of. It's a French press that gets filled a couple times a day.
Mm.
But it's so good.
Yeah, I think we cannot have a recording session for the Tea with Intuitives without you having Earl Grey.
No, it
Yeah.
wouldn't be Tea with Intuitives. It would,
But because just so you know, we record usually 2 podcasts in a row. So there's always one of our recordings where Brittany has an Earl Grey.
at least one.
Yeah.
Yay, well, I'm excited. Meli, you're gonna have to take the reins on this. I'll admit, I don't know what ChatGPT looks like. I have not experimented with it. But I have a couple thoughts surrounding maybe where we're going with it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts about it.
Okay, so my husband started using it before I did, I think, for his work. So was checking it out, how it can facilitate work, maybe how it can help with copywriting. And I did try it as well. It's really fun, just to see how it answers and, how close to a human it can be. And I have a friend who's an author, and she had a brilliant idea. It was the release of her third book. And you always have an event like a book launch. She's like, what can I do to make it fun so that it's just not people who know me coming to see me and get my book? And she did a ChatGPT battle. So the people in the audience would give her a subject, and then she would go and write a short story on that subject, and she would prompt ChatGPT to do the same. Like, okay, this is, what we've been told, this is what you need to write. And then she read both stories, not telling the audience who wrote what. And the audience voted on what was the best. And we can be reassured she won. So she won over the machine because there is this personal perspective. And I've seen it as well. I've tried some things around with ChatGPT, and it has a style. And I follow someone who's an author. If you know Squirmy and Grubs and the podcast Junkyard Mayhem, the guy on the podcast is an author, and he's been following aspiring authors, or rather they're following him for advice and everything. And so he's checking out what they write, and all of a sudden ChatGPT came out and their style tremendously changed. And it's the ChatGPT style who's very much today I am going to talk about, and in conclusion. So it's very much structure. So you have to tell it, okay, you need to be personal. I want you to have this and this style. So this is just to present you how it technically works. But what I did is that I asked ChatGPT if he could replace me someday as a psychic and an Akashic Records reader. So, Brittany, what do you think his answer was?
Um, hopefully no. Hopefully no.
So every time I question ChatGPT about spirit guides in the spirit world, it starts with I'm an AI. I cannot know for sure. Like there's always a warning. And oftentimes it's going to mention you should remember to go see a physician, mental health practitioner, which is really good. But when I asked it, he said, no, I cannot do such a thing. I cannot access the spirit world. So we couldn't be replaced. And that's interesting because I'm working as a translator and proofreader. I've been doing that for, I think, the last 12 years or more. And it has changed a lot. Now we work with AI, with translation memories, and I do a lot of what is called machine translation post-editing. So the tech goes through a machine, through a robot, and then I work on it afterwards. So I'm doing that, but I'm also working a lot with marketing, advertisement that you see on television, billboards, that is very cultural specific. So the human still has a place for now. But my husband, who's more into marketing and technology, says at some point in a few years, I'm going to be replaced as a translator for sure. So I'm like, good thing that I started working as a psychic, because that's just impossible for robots to do.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fear, honestly, surrounding the emergence of such a strong AI right now because we've never had it before. And also, when you think over the past 100 years, how 100 years has changed the world throughout technological and engineering advancement in just a short amount of time, it's pretty astounding.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in awe of that transformation. But when you're living through it, there can be a lot of fear that arises just with the unknown and not knowing what's to come with that. So a lot of people, maybe like in translation or similar, fearing that the AI will take their jobs one day and what would they do? And what I sincerely believe is that although we can use ChatGPT for inspiration and to have a little kind of guidance and to help us form maybe projects or to see things in a different way, I think that's totally fine. Because here's the thing, if you're scrolling on Instagram, everything that you see is inspired. Or if you hire an employee to do work, it is no different than reaching out to like the AI for inspiration, right? It's the same as reaching out to other people on YouTube or whatever it might be. You can pay employees to make things for you or to write things for you, or you could go and use the AI to do that same thing. We export things all the time that we need help with, right? It's not, that part's not a big deal to me. But what I do find fascinating is that no, the AI cannot access places like the Akashic Records. And if you were to ask me, my number one source for inspiration, for motivation, for what I need to share to help support others, or what I needed to create as a business owner, but also being the healer reader archetype, It would be from my own Akashic records. That's the number one
Mm.
first place that I would go to ask bigger questions and to receive answers from. I trust that source more than I will ever trust an AI source. But I understand not everyone has that ability to do that. And yeah, it's interesting. Some people I've seen on Instagram like question the similarities and kind of the pathway forward of AI also representing so much of what we think of as God or what we think of as I can't say that word, omniscient. Do you know that word?
Yeah, omniscient.
Omnipresent. I don't know, like this bigger thing that we are all either a part of or that is kind of running the show. Could AI turn into something like that? Maybe.
I say like yes and no. When I get the pull to do something, I know now that it's coming through intuition, and behind intuition is my spirit guide. So lately, I've got a big push to talk about the chakras and how each of them helps support channeling. And today I just posted about the root chakra. I have no idea what I'm going to say for the other chakras so far.
Mhm.
I felt the pull to start with the root chakra. And my spirit guides, they just drop this idea into my mind over and over and over again until I had no choice. Like you're feeling kind of this intense energy, and some people might call it passion or obsession when it becomes a bit negative for some people. But I get this pull, okay, I need to do this now. So this cannot come from a computer telling you what you need to focus on your life right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
And of course, it can be inspiring and motivating. I think statistically and logically, that AI program probably has a lot that it can help you with, like ideas, what direction to grow in with your business, if it's like based on statistics or what is trending right now and what topics to talk about, right? Like things like that are fun, but then the intuition can fill in the rest, right? So,
Right.
or vice versa.
Yeah. To be honest, I use it for a bit of the boring stuff. So the first time I tried it out, I was working on my Akashic Records course. So I'm still working on it, by the way, people. So don't go look for it. So I already have a course on channeling that I did. And now I was working through, okay, what do I want to say? How do I want to teach it? What's going to be the structure? So I did a draft on Word. And I was like, is this the right structure? Am I missing anything? So I put it in ChatGPT and said, okay, this is the course. It's aimed at beginners, at everyone. And how can the structure be improved? Am I missing anything? So this helped me. And he was suggesting things. I was like, no, I'm not going to work with that. But so I didn't go with what ChatGPT gave me, but it put some perspective on what I was doing. And also it gave me confidence, like, no, okay, I don't want to do that. And it was interesting when I asked, am I missing anything? So, just structure, planning, boring stuff, and getting me aligned and getting reassured. Okay, like, I'm good. I'm good with the planning that I have. I also used it for I write blog posts, and once it's done, you need to do the SEO. And that's a boring part. Like they're saying, the computer says, okay, now you need a meta description. It's 140 characters max. And I'm like, okay, it's the kind of thing that I do with my work, working with sentences, with Word, getting things shorter for the internet, but I don't want to do it now because I'm not in my translation world. I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to do it for me because I don't want to spend too much time on it. So sometimes when I'm tired, when I find something that is boring, and so he just takes what I wrote and sums it up. So that's how I used it.
Yeah, and that's no different than having an assistant you're going to pay to do the SEO of your blog post, right? Like that's no different than having like an employee work for you that's going to do and monitor the SEO or the marketing of your
Mhm.
business. I
Yeah.
think this is so wonderful in the fact that it opens a lot of doors for people. Like, for instance, if you are a reader or an energy healer, or if you're a blogger, or let's say your specialty is making clay mugs, like ceramics. You might want to put in there and just go like, what's the number one theme sold mugs in my business field? What should I be
Yes.
making in the fall of 2023? What do people buy in the fall of 2023 when it
Yeah.
comes to mugs? Right? Like, you can totally use this for marketing to help you in a direction. Like, I've never used it, but if I was to go on there today, for example, I might ask, what's the number one fear people have when it comes to spirituality? Because I want to
Mhm.
write a blog post on fear and spirituality, right? Like, I would want to know
Yeah.
that information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think, Melly, you and I can do a bonus special episode where we interview ChatGPT and see what happens.
Yeah, that would be fun. Absolutely. And also, you were talking about assistants. So, my husband is working from home just like I do. And so, he's independent. He's working in marketing. And he hires people to be part of his mini team. And he straight out says to one of his I don't know how to call it in English, but well, yeah, we can say assistant. He says, "Okay, I want you to do this, 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 and for this, go ask ChatGPT. Like this doesn't need to be personal. It's more like boring stuff. So I don't want you to spend too much time on this. This is ChatGPT. No, no, no. This needs to be really personal, creative." So it's interesting. He's already starting to see how we can streamline activities through the AI.
Yeah, and ChatGPT will never go through the human experience. It
No.
will never fully understand the multi-dimensional dynamic world of being a human. Only we can understand that and write about it in a way that's authentic.
Mhm.
So you can never take that away.
Yeah. And it's interesting also, I want to point out that I've been translating for companies who work with AI for quite some times. And companies who use it, I work for a company who uses it for buildings and making buildings smarter in how they consume energy and how it can be it can be better for the planet. So everything that is about durability, um, and using less resources or cleaner resources. So I know there are very bad uses with AI, unfortunately, but you also have companies using AI for good.
Thank you for listening to the Tea with Intuitives podcast.
If you have a question for us, you can send it at teawithintuitives@gmail.com or via Instagram or YouTube.
Your love for this podcast helps us grow and reach more like-minded souls, so don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast.
Have a beautiful week.